Hi, I'm Charlie Wall, current president of Massasoit, and it's a great honor and privilege to celebrate with you our marvelous 50th anniversary. We've made it, 50 years of Massasoit Community College history. It's also humbling because when I think of all the people that have come before us, faculty, staff, and students, to get us to this point, it's quite an experience. So I want to initially, as we celebrate our 50th anniversary, thank our faculty and staff, current and past, and everyone in the community who has helped us get where we are today. And particularly, I want to recognize our students. This has been for you, this is for you, and we celebrate with you everything you've achieved during these 50 years.
Back in 1966, I was out of school, didn't know what I wanted to do. And my mother was reading in the paper this new school was opening up. Now, I lived just less than a mile from here. It was down the end of the street at the old Sprague School. And that's where they were taking applications for this new college. So my mother said, you go apply, and okay, it was August. And a little while later, I'm walking out of the house. I got cut off jeans, flip-flops. So where are you going? I'm going to go to apply to that school. And she goes, you go back in the house, put on a coat or a tie and dress up. So I put on a shirt and a necktie, and I went down and applied, and they accepted me. I heard later that the Dean Melody, had said that he was, because it was a new school, he was going to accept anybody who wore a shirt and a necktie. So I owe my education to my mother. And I showed up in September. I still have a receipt. I don't know why I have it. It's 50 years old, but I have a receipt from that very first semester. It cost $100, and I started school there.
I was informed that I was the new bookstore manager, which I was not quite ready for. That was a surprise, because I had never run bookstores before, but I had seen one when I was an undergraduate. And that's how I was the bookstore manager, and having to find the books. They were all over Plymouth County because we didn't have a building. We didn't have any place where we had books delivered to us. So they were sitting on docks all around any building that was used for trucking. They didn't know where to put them.
I said this once to my office mate, Dick Nagel, because he's been sitting beside me since 1980 in the same office. And I said it to him about a year ago. I said, Dick, you know, I've never taken a sick day. He said, well, neither have I. Could you imagine that? Two guys, 36 years at the place, neither one of us have taken a sick day. Because you go to work. And I remember a few years ago, because I MCR retirement parties, and I listen to the retirees as they get up and give their last speech to the college. And Ron Coelho was a very popular chemistry teacher. And he said something that still sticks with me to this day. When he was retiring, he said, don't forget that everything you say, do when you're in the classroom is intently being studied by 20, 25, 30 young people. You got to be on your best behavior. You got to do everything right because they're watching. So just because I wasn't feeling good, I got to go to work. You know, they're waiting for me.
We have the joy of seeing students come into their own, to gain new confidence, to become successful and achieve their goals. We have dedicated, caring faculty and staff who really want students to succeed. And so Massasoit is a great place to be.
One of the things that I like to do as the student service vice president was to welcome students at orientation. We gather them together in the theater, 100 at a time. I got to sort of open it up by setting the stage for the day. And I enjoyed that a lot because it allowed me to let them know what kind of people they were, whether they knew it or not. And I used to use the movie The Wizard of Oz as a symbol for it. And that what we learned about The Wizard of Oz was that there were people who thought that they were missing brains, a heart, and courage in order to deal with the change that they saw occurring. I'd say to the students, I says, look, you have the brains and you have the heart, and don't underestimate the courage that it took you to be here today, because all education is change. So you're saying to yourself that I want to change myself, and that takes guts. Some of you are going to change a lot, some of you are going to change a little while you're here, but you're all going to change some. And you could see some of them sort of sitting up, realizing that they were being recognized for somebody with a value, whereas that might not have happened before.
Well, Al Valletta was also a director and an actor. He was the friend who got me the job. And he was directing shows at the Duxbury campus, or wherever the school was. He put together a student group and did some shows. So then he said to me, Mike, would you like to direct a show? I had studied acting at Emerson. And I said, sure, let's go. And so we just kept going. It was one show and then two and three. And pretty soon we gave the group a name, which was the Massasoit Little Theater Company. We just kept doing shows. We had faculty who would come out and do shows. And it was a real family feeling in the 1970s, 1980s. There was even a faculty group that for 3 or 4 years produced Gilbert and Sullivan musicals. These were faculty, staff, and they'd produce The Mikado and Pirates of Penzance and some other Gilbert and Sullivan greats. There was a wonderful feeling toward the theater at that time. The cast becomes like a family, and these casts knew how to party too, mind you. So, very often we'd go off to good old Christo's restaurant was across the street. So they'd bond as a group and they'd be friendly, and everybody was accepted, whether they knew them or not. If you were in the cast, you became a friend. You were a member of the in-group within a week. That was a wonderful thing about theater. And I can recall plays ending, closing night, closing performance, and some students crying. And when I talked on the phone, I started to tear up because the thought of it was sad and yet exhilarating at the same time. They had experienced something in their lives that they'd never experienced before. This tremendous bond and love, the give and take of theater. So it was sad, of course, to see people crying, but they were crying for a good reason. They were crying because it had had such a wonderful experience.
The other day I saw something on Facebook. It was one of my past student athletes. This was 1986. She put an old retro picture out there, and it said something about, and I was in the picture, I was the coach, and all these other women were in it. And someone had commented on it and said, Lisa, I didn't know you played ball. And so I wrote a comment back. She was a heck of a basketball player. And she wrote back to me, she goes, Coach Julie, she goes, those are the best years of my life. She goes, thank you so much. Without you, I wouldn't have gotten through college. That's what's important. That was 86. That's 40 years ago? 96, yeah, 30 years ago. So those are the important things. In athletics, I love to see the expansion of women's sports here. When I first came here, there was 2 different teams women could play on. There was only basketball and softball. Now we have women's soccer, a very successful soccer program. We have track and field. They can play golf. We have cross country. So there's much more opportunity. I love to see that. I love to see the women getting involved as much as the men. We've also expanded on the men's program. We've added an athletic hall of fame. And I think that's important because people are connected to Massasoit. There's just so many lessons in that the connections you make through athletics will last you a lifetime. I see some of these soccer guys now, they come out to our games. They might have played 35 years ago and they're out watching the men's soccer program because they feel that connection. And I think a connection is huge in a community college. And through athletics, people are able to do that.
Massasoit encouraged me to learn. It showed me that I could be a successful student. It made me love learning. It made me want to make education my profession. And so everything that I am today, I owe to Massasoit Community College.
In terms of helping our students succeed, the Gateway to College program, which we were one of 13 community colleges when we first were awarded that a few years ago. Our Veteran Center, our Ubuntu Scholars program, applying technology to make student processes through the college smoother. And sure, it's new degree programs too, veterinary technician, our paramedic program in Middleborough, engineering transfer program. So it's a combination of yes, some physical expansion, but also programs that really relate to what students need and helping them succeed. And then finally, our great success in our liberal arts and sciences science transfer option. We have many strengths across the college, but given the emphasis on the STEM fields, both for our current economy and for the future, our success in the STEM fields is excellent.
What's most positive is when I meet students who have graduated and I see them at the supermarket or somewhere in the community, and they remind me of what they learned in my class. And that's always a positive feeling to know that not only was I someone who could make a difference in their lives, but there was someone that they remembered after they graduated from Massasoit. And that was always a special feeling.
Regardless of the level of success you attain in life, it always starts with a good base, and Massasoit provided me with that fundamental base. My fondest days are memories of Massasoit Community College.
I was the first registered nurse ever elected to the House of Representatives. My fondest memory of the college, besides the friends I made for life, was I won 3rd place in a short story contest for the Ipsy-Dixit.
Although I was proud to get my diploma, one of the proudest moments was when I was sitting on the stand looking out at all the young people and older people that were getting their degrees.
For me, Massasoit represented an opportunity to break free of the poverty that I had lived in. Now I'm able to give back as a trustee of the college.
I was honored to be able to represent the class at graduation and to give the speech at graduation. That was awful nice with my wife and new young child and father sitting out in the audience. That was probably one of the greatest times I had here.
I felt extremely comfortable being an older student. I went nights, weekends. I used every opportunity available. I'm very proud of my success, and so much of it is because of what Massasoit gave to me as a student. It's a beautiful opportunity to attend this school, and it's a beautiful education that I've received.
The way we at Massasoit change student lives is just gets right to the heart and core of what it's all about. We get feedback from our students all the time, both when they graduate, walk across the stage, and as alums, as to how important what we've done here is for them, creating opportunity in their lives, empowering them to be successful overall. It's heartwarming, and it gives us a bounce in our step is what it does.
In the period of time that I was here, I got to have my daughter become a student and eventually become a graduate. And the night that she graduated, I flew up from Washington, D.C., where I was on active duty. And I was able to, while I was reading the names, I got to get off the podium and hand her her diploma and give her a big hug. And some 5 years later, I got to do the same thing with my son. And so both of my children went to Massasoit. Both of them graduated from Massasoit. And both of them were my students. And that was particularly fun because they didn't ever tell anybody that that was my dad up there. But eventually, towards the end of 2 semesters, some of the other students would figure it out.
I'd like to see Massasoit be the premier community college in the state and also the nation, and I think we can do that.
I am so inspired by all of you, the stories that each and every one of you have. It inspires me to even continue on with my education, and I know why I'm in higher education and why I do what I do. It's because of you.
Congratulations on our 50 years. It has been marvelous 50 years, and I am so proud of what we've done. I'm humbled by what we've done, but I'm so proud of what we've done. So congratulations again, and thank you, and let's prepare for 51 years and beyond. And also let's enjoy the celebrations of this 50th anniversary together. Thank you.